stand by, stand by. Switching from human mode to dad mode. Initializing sequence. In 3, 2, 1. This is Dad Mode, the podcast where we navigate the chaotic realms of parenting, gaming, content creation, work, and hell, just life in general. We're diving into the challenges of raising kids in the digital age, from social media madness to navigating the gaming landscape. We're talking about it all, especially from a dad's perspective. Whether it's conquering the latest game, creating content that's more than just a hobby, or just trying to keep up with the ever-changing tech landscape, we're right there with you. We want to help you navigate this wild journey of parenthood and modern life, from balancing family time to managing your career and still squeezing in some gaming and content creation. It's all about fun, some dad wisdom, and a whole lot of dad mode. Now your hosts, Bearded Nova and more.
All right, welcome back to Dad Mode. We're here with Red Rose Sword. Rose is only the second mom we've ever had on Dad Mode, so it's interesting for us to hear, a different perspective. Rose, how are you?
And yourself?
I'm doing great. We're here with Bearded Nova as well.
Bearded's doing good.
I'm great.
I don't make this one easier to edit than the other one.
Thank you.
I don't promise that at all.
Okay.
I have no ADHD meds today, so you are.
Go.
Sorry.
We're on go time. Yeah, I got it.
Sorry. Anyway, so even though I said I didn't like to start the episode this way because I've done it 3 times before, as a stay-at-home mom, as a content creator, and a streamer, you have a lot of things going on, and while your kids are young and you've been doing a lot of this stuff since your kids have been born, we talked a little bit last time about how you get time to do it, like that hobby. But
I'm so glad I didn't do it. I didn't hit the space bar.
I'm curious in general. Wow. Okay. I lost my train of thought. I'm curious in general.
I can do it. I didn't hit the space bar.
Give me 1 second.
No, I like what's happening here.
Nova.
No. I need this in here. I need this. I need to watch Rose's shot. Look at that.
Well, she has
Look
an
at my
actual
monitor, ma'am.
Anyone listening at home, Rose is in her office with her husband, who is playing a game, and she is shooting him with a Nerf dart gun. So, anyway,
actually,
what I was
channel point on my channel too.
What I was trying to say is,
about that.
So before you had kids, you're thinking about your life then. Like, how have things changed? Not just in like your day to day, but like in the dynamic of things that you're doing. Like, how has that changed you?
Can you repeat that question?
I sure can. So, think about your time before kids, and now you have your 2 young children, one in school, one not. How has life changed, or how have you changed as a person since you've had kids?
Before I had kids, I was actually working crazy hours all the time, and I was going to school. Took me 5 years to get a 2-year degree in IT, and it was nice, very relaxing. I gotta say, even with the crazy hours, it was relaxing compared to having 2 small kids running around. Something's always going wrong now. Like, I don't know how better to say that. Just something's always going wrong.
You mean like you're not a parent unless there's a burning building behind you?
Yeah, exactly. This is fine. It's all fine.
It's fine. I'm doing fine.
There's
okay.
Parents always use the joke of, if it's quiet, I need to know what's going on. It's not a joke.
Oh.
If you have children and it's quiet, something is very wrong. Hopefully, they're just trying to cover up something. Hopefully one of them isn't trying to bury the body of the other one. But it could be anything in between those 2 extremes. They're not asleep. That's for sure.
I'm actually waiting another 6 months before I decide to clean the walls of my house because for some reason, my youngest doesn't want to color on paper. She wants to color on the walls.
Oh,
We have collected all the markers, all the crayons, all the colored pencils.
just keep coming out of nowhere.
Yes. So my oldest daughter's room, the back of her door, all of her walls. My youngest did my oldest room. My youngest did her room, my living room, my staircase. And we've been like, look, you can't do this. We've had her clean it. We've scrubbed it. Like, no matter what we do, it's just like a few weeks later, she starts coloring on something again.
Interesting to this is our oldest is the only one that drew on walls up until the point that I want to say 12.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
My youngest is 3.
But she got like really tactical with her writing. Like we were moving when we moved from rural back into town. We're cleaning out the house and there was like little marks and stuff on the walls. I'm like, hey, that's yours and that. Inside her cupboard behind her clothes, she'd like push the clothes out of the way and then written her name with love hearts on the wall. I'm like, is this yours, Mads, is this yours? She goes, no, I wouldn't have done that. I'm like, of course. One of the brothers or sisters has walked into your room, moved your clothes, and drawn on your own wall. Like,
yeah. So sounds like your youngest is going to learn how to paint. This segment not brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Right. So that's good. So she's going to learn a good skill.
Yeah, something like that. She's also very sneaky. She has taken, so they don't get the tablets when they go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
She will take my oldest daughter's tablet and a couple hours before bedtime, go and stash it in her room. And we don't notice until we go looking for the tablets. We've gotten good when they go to bath time. I go find the tablets and everything. One time, so for Christmas, my sister-in-law got her this monkey pillow. And when you flip it over, it has a place for you to put your tablet inside. So she can hold it. She put her sister's tablet in there, flipped it over, and put a blanket over it, so she would have it for bedtime as well. And she has done this more than a few times.
Right, you're gonna have to watch out for that one.
Yes.
My youngest son, he has this thing of covertly watching you type in passwords.
oh really?
He makes a habit of learning passwords. But the interesting thing is, he's a very honest. He will come up to you not too long after that. Like the other day, I'm making dinner. My wife comes home from work.
Yeah.
And he goes, Mom, you need to change your password.
I mean, you've seen my statistics.
Like,
I don't flash.
She's like, because it's XYZ. Blah, blah, blah. She's like, thank you for telling me to change it.
I only do it to
the funny thing, the older brothers is he knows this. He's like,
yeah, exactly.
Why didn't you just tell her you knew it? You know, and I'm like,
yeah.
But you can go to your room for lying. So yeah, kids
are fun.
That's one way to put it. You know, I appreciate that you are being honest about that, because like I've met people who just, my children are perfect angels all of the time, and I'm like, I no longer can trust you because you are lying to me.
Bullshit.
Kids act their worst around the people they trust the most.
Yes. So how about this? I'm sure you've gone to like a parent-teacher thing at school, and you sit down. What do they say every single time?
Your kid's an angel.
Here.
I wish I had 18 of them.
Yeah. So I usually say, you may have them.
My niece, so my sister's youngest, she's part devil, would be the best way to put it. Like, and she's smart, very smart. She has hearing aids, so she really wants to throw a tantrum. She'll just take them out and say, I can't hear you. And she's been able to do that since the age of like 2 or 3. She's only 6, just started school. And she actually doesn't talk to me at all. She refuses to be in the same room with me. She kind of like made this idea of this is what she was going to do a few years ago. It's kind of just stuck to it.
We say you're welcome.
Like really well. But then she'll purposely go and interact with my wife or the kids and then look at me across the room like, suck shit, you can't interact with me. And so she's really smart, really sarcastic, mean, I guess, in a way, cruel. Some of the stuff that she says, you know, like, I've decided to be naughty today and I'm not going to change my mind because that's what I've decided to do.
Oh my god.
Her teacher, on the other hand, turns around and goes, oh, she's such perfect. She's fantastic. And apparently it seems to be only when she's around her mum, her dad, her brother, or outside of the family that she's like this. Yeah. So my sister's actually recording it for the next parent-teacher meeting so she can come in and show her the proof. Because the teacher says swear that she wouldn't be like that.
I'm with Rose on this. Like, I have heard that when your kids are like that, or they're really well behaved in public or whatever, that now they're using the things that you taught them. But when they're home, like, they feel comfortable to just be whatever crazy version of themselves they want to be because they feel safe to do it.
Yes.
You know, you probably won't murder them. So they feel comfortable doing that. But it's good. And I mean, it is good to know that people do say, hey, they're great. They're whatever. They're helpful, because you're like, oh, some things I'm saying are sticking in your head when I say it.
I'm doing a good job.
So have you ever had, is it so, Rose, like when your kids, is it like something like that with it's just you and your husband, or is it like extended family they start to behave more, or is it still just I'll do what I want kind of thing?
Still a little crazy with like my parents and my brother and his wife, but they're not nearly as bad as when they're at home. And then get them to like church or get them to school or even out in public. And they're the cutest little angels. They're so sweet. They're hugging each other. It's like, this is my sister. And
we love each other.
And then we get home and they're wrestling on the floor. My youngest actually has scratches on her stomach right now from rug burn, where they were wrestling each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, when I say wrestling, they're like actually wrestling each other. Like, one of them will occasionally scream, Mom, she's sitting on me. I can't get up.
Yeah. my youngest is he's small. Like he's 10 years old. He's just about 60 pounds. He's a little guy. And my 12-year-old is 5'5" now. Yeah, he passed my wife, who was 5'1", a few months ago, and he's already at 5'5".
Oh, wow.
And he can pick up the little guy and toss him a little distance, which I saw once and said, "Stop doing that because you're going to break his neck." But
yep.
And when they wrestle, like I think he forgets he's so much bigger than his brother, like so much bigger. I'm like, stop! Like this looks wrong, you know.
I had to teach that to our son because he like one stage started to get real like wrestling boy, like a boy, and he's the only boy. There's no other brothers to do that with. So he tried moving that games into the sisters. I'm like, no, you can't do these games with your sisters. Like this is just not where they don't want to do that. That's not their style. Stop trying to get them to fight you, out in the yard with sticks and swords and stuff like. Because it's not a light game. He's smashing the crap out of it, thinking, they're going to go just as hard as what he is.
Does he want to do it with Dad?
No. Because I'll win.
No.
Oh.
My that's what he does. Like they were my oldest said, "Hey, let's arm wrestle." I'm like, "You're like a giant compared to him."
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Give me a real challenge. Give me." I'm watching on my phone. I'm like, I'm like, "All right, let's go." He's like, "No, I'm done."
Yeah, I mean, my son started playing basketball and in competition, like in clubs and that, and was playing with his sisters at the park, and he gets a bit pushy, a bit show offy, I guess, in front. So I tried to show how good he was. So I went down there, and I really just checked him, just blocked him, and just let him round into me. I'm like, "What are you doing?" Just bumping into it with my hands out, like, "I'm not even touching you. I'm not even touching you." Like, just really put that pressure on him into a court until he got frustrated with me. I said, "See, you can't do that. Can't do that, mate. There's always someone bigger and nastier."
It was two summers ago. My oldest, who played basketball in school, was talking a lot.
Yes.
Like, let's go, old man, kind of thing. Like, all right, well, let's go outside and we'll play. And I don't I'm not a participation trophy guy. I don't just let you win. And I didn't let him win. But at the end of it, he was crying because he lost. And the bad thing is, like, my back hurt a lot, and so, like, I had to just go inside because, like, I was a little bit in pain. But it looked like I just walked off as he's crying. Like, dude, damage control. My wife's like, "Why did you?" I'm like, "My back hurts." She's like, "Oh, well, go talk to him when you feel better," because I'm really, really upset. So, I mean, he learned a lesson, but still, like, I did feel a little bad afterwards.
Do you find your children turn it up for grandparents? Like and then the grandparents encourage it? Like they're doing something ridiculous at home. Like I was saying, my niece and that. My mum, I swear, kind of encourages it. Like she's the Mima that just lets them do what they want whenever they want. And I'm looking at them like, why are you like this? You weren't like this for me. You know, the kids, it's nuggets and chips and whatever they want. Or, you know, you want to have ice cream for breakfast, that's fine. We'll do that. One of my children came home once after being there for a few days. And I'm like, oh, did you eat any fruit while you were there? And she turned around to me and said, oh, yeah, cordial is fruit, isn't it? Cordial has fruit in it. Which is like cordial. It's like kind of like Kool-Aid, I guess.
Okay.
Would be the best way to put it. So that's what she drunk. Basically at Mima's, not water or had any fruit. It was just, okay, well, I drank an orange flavored Kool-Aid, so that counts as fruit, doesn't it? It's like, oh, Jesus, Mum, why do you do this? Why do you do this?
My mom has a special pocket in her purse, and it's called the grandma pocket, and it is filled with candy. Like, pretty much any kind of candy you can imagine, she's got in there, and she will give it to the kids. And she will sneak them bubble gum. Every single night.
Seek bubble gum.
I have said to my mom on more than one occasion, I'm like, why didn't I get any of this stuff? Like, none of this. Right? So now I can't wait till my boys have families. I want them to apartments so I can destroy them. But then I want them to have children so I can just give them so much sugar. So much sugar.
I'm looking forward
that their mom and dad say they can't watch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to my children having their own place just so I can go over, ransack it, eat just randomly what I want out of the fridge and cupboard, just make a mess and then go see you later and walk home. But that's the point of my life that I can't wait for my kids to get to. Yeah. Just where I can destroy and leave.
You leave it on the counter.
Yeah.
You leave the fridge open. You leave your shoes on the floor. You leave, like my son likes to do, leave his socks on the kitchen counter all of the time. I could go on, but I don't need to. But yeah, I can't wait.
My kids have started sneaking into my chocolate. It's the Ferrero Rocher chocolates, that's the only thing that I get for myself.
My wife is exactly the same. That's the same chocolate too. That's her chocolate.
Yep. Actually, the reason I looked down.
Yeah. So my wife keeps she has, is this like a wife thing? Like she has her own chocolates in her nightstand.
Yep. I used to have them there.
I watch TV, all of a sudden I hear like crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, nothing.
I have a shelf in the cupboard.
I used to have mine in my nightstand. I used to keep it in the pantry. I used to keep it in my computer desk. Like my kids, they will search it out.
I just put it up high. That's all what I do in my house. Like that top area, anything up there is mine. And all the kids now know not to touch my stuff because I might buy like a packet of Doritos or something that I'll have there for me watching TV later. And they've got their own little, kid-sized packets or something. Then randomly, at one stage, the kids would go, oh, I'm going to use that packet up the top. And to the point that I got really cranky that when I get home from work and then there is no chips for me. So everyone's kind of learned that shelf's my shelf now. Like, don't touch what's up there.
I can't put it up high. I'm 5 feet tall.
Are you?
My kids get a stool and they can reach what I can reach.
That car from
But you're
the
shorter than my wife.
X and then try and drive. it to
I
your
like to say I'm
house.
5'1". But yeah,
She,
no,
like,
I think you've seen me.
She's apparently 5'1.5", and God help me if I say she's 5'1". She's like, and a half.
Yep.
Honey, you don't sound like that. I was just, showing off for my
Short
friends.
women are feisty when you get something wrong.
Yeah, and why do you guys think that you're as big as everybody else?
Yeah, hold on one sec.
Because their
Because our personalities
personalities.
are that big.
There we go.
Thank
I was
you.
on it. I was on it.
I was already going.
Yeah, like she's like blah 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 blah, and like we'll stand near a store window, and I'm like this much taller than her, like 9 inches. I mean, she's like, and I'm like, you see how much smaller you are? She's like, it doesn't matter.
No, it's not.
It's quite funny when somebody sees me with Jordan. He's 6'3".
Oh my!
So, yes.
But that's okay.
But I'm the one in charge of the relationship. Like, I'm the one that will go grr, and he'll just go along with it.
Yeah, he's like,
And he's sitting right there, and he will not say anything right now.
I
Yeah.
don't even think he
Smart.
heard me.
he's the
don't
German
even-
Shepherd, and you're the Chihuahua. In it, you know what
I
I
hear you.
mean? That's the one you really want to
Yeah.
watch, the one that bites your heels.
Yep.
So one issue that we have around our house, I don't know how everybody else does it, but we give our kids allowance for chores around the house. And my wife has a problem with that because, like, when we have the house, like, she's like, you do this, I'll do this. I have made sure that their chores are the stuff that I'm supposed to. And if they're done maybe poorly is not even an appropriate word. But that's not my point. My point is, do you make your children do chores around the house, and how does that go?
Well, my kids are still a little too young to do too much, but
Okay.
I do remind them, hey, feed the dog. They have great fun feeding the dog, giving him water, letting him in and out of the house to go potty. But that's
just a compliment,
pretty
dog.
much the only chores they have right now.
Okay.
We were going to start giving my daughter like a quarter
Like,
every time you
basically
feed the
without
dog. And then it took so long to get quarters that she forgot. So now we have $20 worth of quarters sitting there waiting for her to remember that, hey, we're supposed to give her a quarter.
Right.
Oh,
See, one of our childs, she's all over it when it comes to pocket money. Ours get $5 a week. So up to $20 a month. Plus, there's their phone. Like both of them, all of them got phones, and that's $25 a month or something on top of my contract. Like, so realistically, their jobs are helping pay for their phone because to me they don't need it all the time. And yeah, one of our youngest, she actually is a stickler for the money. Like she's an accountant in her head. She will remind you the moment you haven't paid her, or if you shorted her, or she's used some money before getting paid as well. She'll know how much is left. Like, great for the accuracy.
Yes.
However, coming into a preteen, she's now got this attitude of, I'll just forget to do my jobs, but doesn't forget to remind you to pay her. So I'm actually becoming the evil one in the house, I guess, by showing around and going, have you done this job yet? No. Well, you're not, I'm not paying you for, you're losing $5 this week because you haven't done it when you needed to. And my wife, she likes to turn around and tell me, well, you can't keep telling her that because you don't do some of the things around the house when you say you're going to. To what I say, I'm not asking for money when I do these things around the house. There's a big difference. I'm not getting paid for it. I just have to do it for nothing. But yeah, that's one thing my kids are doing. Just give me the money, give me the money. Now the oldest has her own job. She doesn't really care.
Treat it like Among Us. Like, if you don't finish your tasks, you will get yeeted out of the house. You just lay it out there.
That's a fair way to look at it.
But yeah, I have to work on my kids with the quality of the work, because it's not just that they finish it and then they're like, I'm done, I'm like, cool. And then my wife looks at it, she's like, now you have to go in and clean up after what they tried to do. I guess you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sort of our jobs.
So-
The kids do ain't bad. It's keep your room clean. Like that's realistically clean room. I don't want to see dirty clothes spread on the floor or on the bed. Like just put it in the basket, laundry basket. It's not that hard. One does the recycling and one does general rubbish. Like when that gets full, run it out. Again, that's one of the ones that the younger one chose recycling and then it's overfilling. And then, hey, you're not doing the recycling when you're meant to. And the other two jobs they got, one does the bathroom twice a week, just keeps their bathroom clean. And the other one, the younger one, she does the toilets, like our toilet and her toilet. And she only has to do that twice a week. But what that means is run past, do the toilets, need toilet rolls, stack them back up. That's really her, the job that she does twice a week is make sure it doesn't run out of toilet paper. And that's the one that I catch her out on the most. Because it'll get to the end of the week, like it's Sunday, and there's be no toilet paper. Like there's one roll left in each bathroom. And I know that she hasn't done it halfway through the week, because if she had done that, then it'd be constantly full, like you'd never run out. That's where we're at in jobs in my house.
Something else that was coming to mind too was as my kids are 12 and 10 now, I've noticed that they have very distinct personalities, as I guess you would expect. Although I don't know, I was an only child, I didn't know how any of the sibling stuff worked, but it's interesting. Like one of them is very much like my wife. I almost said my mom. That's weird. And another one is apparently very much like me, but which my wife finds hilarious because I'm like, why is he so sarcastic and stubborn and procrastinating? And she's like, because he's like you. Do you see, Rose, do you see like that dynamic in your house at all? Like, I know your kids are young, but their personalities are forming.
Their personalities are so completely different. My oldest, she is me. And every bit of the way, she is me. She looks like me. She acts like me. She is a goody two-shoes. She will tell on you, which I had two older brothers, so of course I've told on everybody, right? I was the sneaky little sister. I was an angel, but no, I was a sneaky little sister.
Do no wrong.
She's the sneaky, yes. But that's what my oldest is. My youngest is a complete daredevil. She doesn't care what you have to say. Like, my dad and I were looking at, I told you we had to get a new car. Well, we brought it home today. My dad and I were right outside. We saw her at the front door. She was crying. All right, time to go back in. She can't get out of the house. Like, we're sitting right there at the front door. We can't find her. And we're calling for her and searching the house. And it took 2 or 3 minutes for me to find her. And it was only when she poked her head out over the edge of the chair. It's just like, you were crying. And then you go and hide and we're yelling for you and you don't come out. Like, what in the world? And that's her personality. Yeah, I'm going to cry at the drop of a hat, but then I'm going to go and run into a door. I'm going to go jump off the couch. She's been using the dining room chairs to climb over a half wall into another one of our rooms. And it's just like, why? Like, what is going on? But she's so, they're their own people. They really are. They are completely different. I want to say my youngest acts like my husband. I do. But I think she has more attitude than he does. At this point, she definitely has more attitude.
My wife constantly says our 6-month-old looks like me, and in a bad way. Like constantly, like if I'm pissed off, she's already adapted my, and I'm not saying it's pissed off by us. It's like a resting bitch face or that she's adapted that face of mine where we can just both be sitting there staring and it just looks like we're both pissed off at the world, but there's actually nothing going on. And my wife constantly is like, she's just doing the you thing.
Resting bearded face.
Yeah, exactly. The other one that I've taught, I think I brought this up the other week. There's always the bad kid at daycare. I don't know if I saw the story. Yeah, she starts daycare on Monday, and she's only going there 2 times a week. But we went and did like the stay at play, hanged around the room for a little bit, and all the kids were really good. So we left, and I said to the wife, "That's weird. Like, there's always a bad kid. Is our child going to be that bad child?" And it was just a joke. There's nothing serious about it. We left. That was fine. A couple of days later, my wife went for the second one. And the next thing you know, she puts our daughter on the rug, on the mat. She rolls across the mat to another child, starts eating her hand, like biting her hand. And then when she's told no, she rolls the opposite direction to another child, starts doing it to him. She's pulled him away from the kids. It's like, no, you can't do that. Sits her there. And another little kid's come over and started touching her. Well, she starts growling like a dog, like just really working herself up. And she's had to call me. I'm like, great, it's our child. It is our child. Our child's that one at school. Even this morning, my wife she slept in. I had her up for a bit. And then she's taken over after breakfast because she's a mess. Cereal, everything's all over her face. And they're going to the bathroom and all she could hear is this. And she's like, what the hell is going on? I don't understand why you're doing this. You're being, what's going on? You're tensing your whole body and growling. And I've had to come in and go, have you started taking her clothes off? She goes, yeah. I'm like, you got to pretend to like eat her like you're an animal. She's an animal. Just like be rough with her. That's what her growling means. It's like, I want to wrestle and I want to get rough. I've already instilled that in my daughter as 6 months old. My wife can't handle it. Like she's a little girl. She's not meant to be acting like this. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's just where I've gone with it.
It happens.
Son has someone to play sticks with.
Yeah.
Dude,
He's past that now.
when
He's all past that. High school. Too cool for that stuff.
The random things you teach your kids without realizing it is astounding.
It is like a nature nurture thing, right? Like, I see these habits in both of my sons, but mainly my older one, and I'm like, why is he acting like that? And then I realize, oh, that's what I do, and I'm like, I don't like that. I mean, wait, do other people not like that when I do those kind of things? And it makes me learn a little bit about myself and maybe things that I want to change. And hopefully if I change a behavior, they'll see that I'm doing something different and maybe they'll change their behavior too, because they're young enough to where, they can change it before it becomes just part of their personality. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
They're
going to pick up other bad habits.
They will. Language is one of them. Like Beard and I have talked a little bit about this too. Like my wife and I, we don't really swear around them. Like I work, like Rose, you've been enough of my streams to know that I have a very hard time not swearing. But I work really hard around the kids, and I don't like. I think the worst I usually say is sucks. Right? Sometimes, like I'll say other words will come out, but my wife has, oddly enough, a harder time withholding when she gets mad at something. She's not swearing at the kids like a work thing, right? Like, what the heck, whatever.
Make sure I didn't have to work tomorrow.
But they come out and they say words that like we've never said, and I'm like, oh, it's your friends at school. Like school, like it starts to undermine like part of what you do at home. And
really,
now I'm giving you anxiety because you're going to be sending both your kids to school fairly soon. Although preschool, kindergarten, like they're not hearing much at all, but
not too much yet. Yeah.
It is crazy. Last thing I'll say before I want you to comment on that, Beard. It is we live in a small town, and so like there's two towns, like the middle school and the high school, because there's just not enough kids.
Yep.
And they have one bus company, and for middle school is like 6th and 7th and 8th grade, and high school is 9 through 12. But because there's so few buses, they wanted to bus everyone together. So they wanted my 10-year-old, who was 10 going 11 in 6th grade, to be bused with the high school kids at the same time. It could be 17 or potentially 18. And I'm like, no. Like, so for for 6th grade, we drove him and picked him up, because I'm like, I don't want my 10/11-year-old with a high school senior. Like,
right.
The conversations that they're going to have in a high school senior, I don't want my little kid knowing. I don't want him hearing that stuff yet. Like, I'm sure
at least a few more years.
Kids of all ages, you've dealt with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I guess it could be the Australian in me. swearing isn't really toned down ever anywhere here. Their parents, there's parents that'll say they don't swear in front of children. They're full of shit. They guarantee you they have at one stage. That's down here, not over there. But that's down, down here. We're talking, the opposite side of the world. We know where everything's crazy. But oddly enough, a lot of children don't swear. You do get kids, depending on where they're growing up, they might swear. But most of our children, in particular ours, don't swear. Like a lot of kids don't swear, maybe with a couple of their friends, but they won't swear in front of an adult. It's just like an unspoken rule as such, the kids do. So I don't really care about the crossover. Like our high school is grade 12 through to grade 7 now. That's high school. And then primary school's 6 through to prep. So 7 years there.
All one school?
2 schools.
Like
so you got 7 to 12. And then that's just high school.
Big age range, like 11 to 17.
Yeah, 18 actually. Some kids are 18 when they finish school here. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they work off a financial calendar, but they do separate them at school as such. Like that's the year 11 area, that's the year 12, that's the year 10s. There's crossover obviously on ovals and like I want to say cafeteria, it's we call it tuck shop. There's crossover there, I guess kids can part, but most of the time, like they've got their own areas. They don't really cross too bad, but it doesn't really bother us. Like the age crossover, particularly younger grades. That's the only time we really care, because kids are trying to learn their own, like I was saying, with brothers and sisters. Some can be really rough and not used to younger kids, so. In younger school, the preppies are by themselves, and then it might be prep in grade 1, and then grade 1 and grade 2, 2 and 3. Like they really separate the little kids in primary school, but high school, don't care. They can do what they want. I just hope that I've taught my children enough that they know what's right and wrong, so they don't have to. Yeah, I do mean that. I do trust what my kids are going to do and the decisions they make, because I feel like I've done a good job as a parent that they're going to make those right decisions. And if they do fail, or they do make those wrong decisions, they'll be able to look back at it and realize what went wrong or what they could have done better.
I mean, that's all that we can really hope for as parents, is that we try to teach them the right thing so that when they get out there, they're going to make the right decisions. Because, the reality is, by the time they're 17, 18, they're maybe either they're going off to work or they're going off to school, but whatever it is, they're probably not going to be around you nearly as much. Like, when I got my license at 16, we've talked about this before, I was a ghost. Like, I got my license, I borrowed the car. At 16, I would say, hey, on like Friday night, I'll see you on Sunday evening. And, apparently that was okay. I would never let my kids do that now. I would just laugh at them. But, my mom just had to trust that I was going to make the right decisions when I was out there. So, you just gotta try to, teach them the right things. Like, I talked about this too. Like, I spent the first 17 and a half years of my life, like, multiple times a week was something church related, or the youth group, or the scout thing, or some kind of sport, or youth group kind of thing. So, my mom felt like I was learning the right things to make the right decisions as I became an adult.
Yeah.
And so when you kind of, calling back to what we were talking about earlier, when you go to those parent teacher things and the parents and the teachers are like, oh, your kid's they're a joy, a treat, a delight to have in class, whatever ridiculous thing they say. You got to think, well, maybe what we're doing at home, maybe it's working, right? Because if this is what they're showing, this is what they feel like they have to show outside of the house, then they are listening. They do know right from wrong and how to treat someone with respect, using some manners, even though those concepts seem to slip completely away when they're home.
They don't belong in the house, apparently.
I get the same thing when they go stay at friends' houses. Oh, I love having them over. They can come over anytime they want. They're so great being here. It's like,
nicest kid.
Yeah. Why aren't your kids like that when they come to my house? No.
Right. The other thing that I've started to become a lot more aware of, in the last year probably is my relationship with my wife, right? Because I feel I'm starting to realize I have to model like how I should treat my wife and that what kind of relationship we have, because I want to set a like show them like what a healthier relationship looks like, right? I don't want to be yelling or being rude or not doing the things I'm supposed to do because I don't want them to think this is how you treat somebody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like there's so much pressure being a parent. Like it's not just like making sure that this thing doesn't die for the first 18 years of its life. It's trying to be a better version of yourself than you've probably ever been.
Yeah.
And all that stuff in hopes that you raise a good member of society who is going to go out and be a good member and raise their own family.
I think you nailed it there. That's exactly what we do as parents, is try and raise a better version of ourselves. I know that's what I do.
Be the role model.
Yeah.
Be the role model that you needed when you were a kid.
Exactly.
So.
Yes. Which is hard because there's no handbook that comes with this. I didn't have, my father was not around when I was growing up. So like, I didn't have that real male role model. But like, so you just try to do what you do. And, everybody's like, well, you're a crappy parent. I'm like, look, I have no idea what I'm doing. Every day I'm making this stuff up.
Every parent just makes it up as they're going. Like, okay, this works. That doesn't. This is going to scar them. Let's not do that.
Like
that kind of thing.
All right, I am gonna take off.
It's 1 o'clock.
It's my mom's real early tomorrow morning, but thanks so much again for coming on, Rose.
Yeah, thank you, Rose.
Thank you. This is nice. So thank you.
You've been listening to Dad Mode. Our passion is navigating this wild journey of parenthood and modern life. From balancing family time to managing your career and still squeezing in some gaming and content creation. And no matter what the women say, they will never be able to pry the controller out of our cold, dead hands. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, find us on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Dad Mode Podcast. And we can be found on every podcast site at Dad Mode Podcast. Y'all be cool. See you next time.